I recently moved into a new house. Having graduated from college and gotten my dream job of working as a publisher who works from home, it's not the largest house, having only one floor, though it has a basement, which I guess is pretty neat. The basement has a door, and from that door about 10 or so steps that leads down to the basement, which would require you to turn around to the end of the stairs to be truly in there. The first week there, everything seemed normal, with the occasional noises I heard from the basement and around the house in general. I played it off as the house settling, but the more I heard it and listened, the more I realized that the noises were consistent in sound and pitch. That wasn't normal for a house to do, and even I knew that. I still didn't worry about it much. I doubted someone would break in every night and make that noise like this. Plus, I'm a huge gun fanatic, owning several small and larger firearms. I assumed it was a rat of some sort that scurried around at night, as the noises never happened during the day. So, one night I picked up my small .22 pistol you would use to shoot rabbits and other creatures. My house is alone. I have no neighbors, and the nearest building is about a 15-minute drive, so no one would hear the gunshot. I waited for the noise to start again, confirming that the rat was now in the house from whatever small hole it crawled in. It started around midnight, the same time the noise always picks up. The scratching of nails down in the basement rung in my ears, and my heart dropped. Whatever was down there, it wasn't a rat. Its movements sounded heavy and loud. I could even hear it breathing. "Who's down there?" I yelled, raising my pistol to the door, ready to shoot in case they try to burst through. I heard a snort of some sort, followed by the sound of someone quickly racing up the stairs. I lowered my gun and quickly locked the bolt before stepping back and raising my gun again. Whoever was in my basement banged on the door once. "I have a gun, and you're trespassing on private property. I suggest you tell me who you are before I start shooting through the door," I demanded once again. Whoever was there snorted once again, and I noticed that the doorknob began to jiggle. They were trying to open the door. I was about to speak again when whoever it was spoke to me. "Sean, is that you?" My heart dropped, and I nearly threw up as I recognized the voice. It was my friend who died a few months ago in a tragic accident with an 18-wheeler. I saw his body. I watched as he was lowered into the grave. There was no way he was alive, so then how did this person have his voice? And how did they know my name? Not even that, the voice sounded off, almost automatic, like a voicemail machine. Yet, at the same time, it sounded buggy, like its voice was consistently shifting in pitch. Who are you?" I asked. "Sean, it's me, Ben," it responded. It still sounded like an automated reply. It sounded so wrong. This entire situation was wrong. "Let me out, Sean. I want to see your face." That one word, face. Its voice seemed to have broke. It went into a deep growling voice instead of Ben's. "Please, Sean." I heard it scratching at the door, followed by the sound of the doorknob turning vigorously. "Let me out." Its voice broke again, and I jumped back, nearly tripping over my chair I had behind me. Whatever this thing was, it really wanted out, and whatever it was, it has been roaming my house the past few weeks while I sleep. Thank God I shut and locked the door at night. It seems like it can't get through doors unless they're unlocked. I don't know what this thing is, but I can hear it every night. It keeps calling to me, asking me to let it out, that it wants to see my face. I'm scared. I don't know what to do. I've tried calling the cops, but whenever they're here, even at night, it's as if the thing knows. They even went down in the basement and didn't see anyone, or thing is, and I don't know how to get rid of it. Some time had passed and I still hadn't found out what it was, but it still calls to me every night. Its cries are getting more frantic, and it's using other voices. I heard the voice of my mom and my brother. It wants me to let it out. I've called the cops multiple times and they think I'm the boy who called Wolf. If something were to really happen, I don't think they'd come anymore. But I have some good news. After all the 911 calls, I got a text on my phone. It was from some guy who said his name was Frank. He told me he was a detective, to put it into simple words, which confused me. I know what a detective is, so why is he wording it like that? I texted him back the other day and he asked for my address. I gave it to him and he made his way here. It took him a whole week to arrive, but when he did, he told me that he works with encounters like this with monsters or other beings. Is that what's in my basement? I asked. A monster? More than likely, yes. However, with the current information you've given me, I am unable to deduce the type of being that it is, though it is a narrow selection, seeing as how you've said it copied voices. Yeah, it's creepy. It knows the voice of people who've died, people I haven't spoken to in years. Why, you mean it's not mimicking voices? No, it is. It mimicked my dead friend, my mom, and my brother. But has it heard their voices? He asked sternly. I mean, no. Why? He muttered something under his breath that I wasn't able to pick up, but he took a seat at my table inside. He said he wanted to stay with me a while to see if he can find out what it is and how to deal with it. I only have best of hopes for my future. When I got to a university in a city 3 hours away from my hometown, my family rented a small apartment for me. It was cozy, filled with nice furniture, and located in a safe neighborhood. Everyone told me how lucky I was for having found such a catch with almost minimal effort. The only problem stood with it being on the ground floor, which kind of unsettled me. The backside was facing a small paved road with some other houses in a narrow street. You could look at that road outside the bedroom windows, so I hated leaving the window shutters open. I would always close them a little before nightfall. My biggest fear, after all, was waking up in the middle of the night, having forgotten the shutters and realizing a face is looking at me from the glass window. But this had never happened. What happened to me, though, in my second year of staying there was beyond any terror of my imagination. But to let you feel the way I felt, let's take you back to March of 2020. A lockdown was imposed due to COVID-19 preventative measures. I quickly packed some things and left for my hometown to be with my family during quarantine. The house was locked up for the 3 months quarantine had lasted. When I got back in June, I had come upon a terrible realization. Someone had broken into my apartment. He basically had turned the place upside down, but found nothing of value to steal, as I had taken my laptop and all my money with me. The door was not even broken though, so I only found it when I came in. I anxiously stepped out of the house, my bag still in my hand. Is everything all right? I heard a voice from behind. No, someone broke into my house, I replied at once and turned around to see a guy my age carrying his groceries. Ah, that sucks. Let me see the door, he said. Seems like they didn't rupture the lock. Could have used a card or maybe even a master key. It happened to my cousin 2 years ago. At this point, I didn't know what to do or say. I called the police and reported the break-in, but they couldn't do much, apart from searching for fingerprints, which didn't exist. They hadn't stolen anything after all. They must have been disappointed and gone away in a short amount of time. I changed the lock that very day and got to know the guy. His name was Nick. He was a year older and had moved in the apartment on the second floor early that March. I learned that he drove a motorbike, which he used to park in the back road opposite of my room. This made me feel a little more comfortable, knowing that someone familiar would often move there. I didn't have a chance to talk to him again, though, as I started studying for my exams. I would stay up very late and sometimes sleep with a book in my hand. I wish I didn't, though. That night, I woke up from a light noise. At first, I thought it was the morning and I had overslept because my alarm clock hadn't sounded. It was 3:03 a.m., though, the witching hour. I suddenly rose from bed and turned my head to the window. The sight of a face that was looking at me made my blood freeze inside my veins. I had forgotten to close the shutter. That man was looking with a dead, dark eyes and an unsettling smirk on his mouth. Then he rose his hand, holding something. As he was shaking it up and down, I saw a large pair of keys. He moved his lips to speak a soundless word. Hello. I didn't scream or move. I sat still on my bed as the man did nothing but rock the keys in his hands for some seconds. The feeling of relief, though, is even more capable of stealing your emotion when the sweet release from fear arrives. I heard the sound of Nick's motorbike outside. He was parking it. He will save me, I whispered, and I think the guy outside was reading my lips. But who will save him? Mustered from his lips.